It's time to take games back, and the woke people do not like it, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, they are furious. If you're not aware, Stuttering Craig from Screw Attack fame and currently the host of Side Scrollers announced that the Take Games Back movement is officially called the Real Game Awards. And ever since he announced this, the typical wokies are coming out crying that it's a grift, that he's grifting everybody and taking advantage of fake outrage and everything. It's been a journey today. In fact, Nick Calandra was actually on Side Scrollers today and proceeded to get absolutely freaking owned. He couldn't even hold a debate. But I wanted to give my thoughts on this whole Real Game Awards and talk about Nick and Mercante and all these wokies' reactions to this situation because they don't like it. And they don't like it because it goes against their echo chamber, guys. That's why. That's why it's a grift. They say, oh, it's a grift because there's no roadmap and we can't see where the funding's going to, even though they forget for the last couple decades, Craig literally held successful events like the Screw Attack game convention. He ran successful brands like Screw Attack. So if there's anybody to not doubt as far as where money's going to make something successful, I would say, hey, I'm going to give Stuttering Craig a benefit of the doubt. Besides, we all know that if this had been somebody that is a woke access media person that works at Kotaku, whatever, making their own alternative Game Awards event, all these people would be all for it. The only problem this is having is that it's a straight white man. They said it themselves, which I'll show you guys some tweets. So yeah, we're going to take games back and taking a look at this tweet that he posted up yesterday. Craig says it's become very obvious the people who work in and write about the industry that you love hate you. It's time for action. Let's take games back. I tweeted out my support of this whole thing yesterday for various reasons. Because one, I'm sick of forced DEI. I'm sick of woke nonsense being put into our video games. I'm sick of all these journalists that are over here trying to run the narrative when they have no place doing it. When he says that they hate gamers, they're absolutely right. They hate gamers. They hate us just because we ask for things as simple as no political messages posted in our things. I put out a good tweet about this yesterday. Got a good response. Over 155 likes. That's a pretty good ratio for 8BE. But I announced my endorsement. I said I'm fully supporting at Real Game Awards and Stuttering Craig because I'm tired of the nonsense infecting the gaming industry. It's time to fight back against DEI and wokeness. So let's take a look at this video. I think this video is pretty good. It explains the whole situation and everything involved with the Real Game Awards, and then we'll give some thoughts.
A few months ago when I announced Take Games Back, I, like many of you, had pretty much just reached a tipping point. I was, and am, just sick and tired of seeing gamers just disrespected by journalists and even people within the video game industry. It is amazing to see an industry that has just such disregard for its customers. Take Games Back was and is a call to action because something has to be done. And since I made that first announcement, journalists, consultants, and industry activists have almost like doubled down. We've seen journalists dox people, literally call people's wives, and even challenge people to physical fights. I mean, what a joke. As I said before, it's one big club and you're not even invited to it. And the worst part about it is that these people have the gall to think that they get to decide the best games of the year at some overly corporatized, super sterile award show that plays it safe. Not anymore. Starting today, Take Games Back is officially called the Real Game Awards. I've always thought the phrase for gamers, by gamers is extremely cliche, but I gotta be honest, that's exactly what the Real Game Awards is. You decide what you like best, not some activist blogger out of San Francisco or New York. We're gonna remove all that bullshit product placement and all that celebrity nonsense that's thrown in there. Get right to the core of it. It's about games. If you're tired of all the nonsense in the video game industry and want to help reclaim the voice for actual gamers, become a voting member of the Real Game Awards. And hell yes, we're gonna gatekeep, which is why it costs $30 a year to become a voting member. If you become a member today, guess what? We're actually taking suggestions for categories right now. Yes, You will decide the categories voted on in this year's award show. In 2024, we want to do a digital event because our goal is simple. We want to save as much money as we can for 2025 where we can hold a physical event. I don't care if we do it at a Buffalo Wild Wings. The point is, we gotta take action. With that said, it's time for you to take action and help reclaim the voice for gamers in this industry and hobby that we all love. Go to therealgameawards.com and become a voting member and start suggesting categories literally right now.
So that seemed pretty transparent to me. They're using this funding for this year to build an actual awards event at a physical location next year. But for whatever reason, these wokies want to try to paint a picture that there's no roadmap. He literally just said that the plan is to make a physical event. Once you get that set in motion, that's where you build the roadmap. That's where you build the event, the entire itinerary, the guests, the presenters, everything about it. But you can't make chicken salad without chicken, all right? Or else you're going to be making chicken shit. So, yeah, everybody's a critic, especially when it goes against the grain that, oh, this is anti-woke shit. We can't go with that. And honestly, that's why Access Media is completely banned from this. If you watch Side Scrollers today, Nick Calandra couldn't get it through his head why Access Media can't be on the board. That they're welcome to take part and vote, but they can't be on the board. They don't want anybody that has some kind of sense of bias in here. People that get access to special treatment from video game companies. Guess what? That includes me because I get codes all the time. So I can't be on the board. And that's perfectly fair. That's fine because this has to be something that's different than what we see out there. Different than like Summer Games Fest and the Game Awards where we see a lot of pandering, a lot of political correctness, a lot of just overall woke cringe injected into the game. So I'm honestly 110% for this. And you can see in my post, we had a few of these guys. For example, right here, Jared Shapiro say, this is an important step in the fight against the nonsense that's taken over the video game industry. And you are absolutely right in that. So looking at the website, it has all the information about why they're doing this, what the steps are, why it's important to become a voting member. And, you know, you have different tiers. This is where the grift is right here, guys. This is where people are crying about the grift. $30 for a full year. That's cheaper than going out to eat at a freaking dinner today. Like one day. So you're paying less than 8 cents a day to do this. And this is a gatekeeping tactic. This is to keep people that want to come in and cause problems and troll. But it's also cheap enough to where if people are serious about building and developing something, they could take part in it. And there's all different types of award, you know, tiers and everything like that. I'm 110% for this. And apparently, I think they've had already over 200 members sign up for this. But let's be honest, the real issue why Mercante and Colandra have an issue with all this is because who's in the board, right? Look right there. We got Stuttering Craig. We have D-Day Cobra, who's the founder and owner of Geeks and Gamers. That's setting them off 110% right there. Why they don't think that this is a good idea is because D-Day Cobra makes content calling out their bullshit. And then Cabrutus, who's literally the face of Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Steam group that kicked off Gamergate 2, where Chris Kindred tried to get them censored. Alyssa Mercante wrote that hit piece trying to get them canceled. This guy literally kicked off what's going on right now as far as this culture war, like they like to label it. And then also, last but not least, we have Mark the Cyborg. So the reason why it's an issue is because who's on the board. They feel that it's against what they like in their echo chamber. That's the only reason why. And also probably because other factors like it's all men right now, even though they have announced that they would be getting more people out here. So Twitter took to it, especially little Nikki, who's just obsessed with the whole situation. You can see him saying, come on, you can't be serious with this. There's not even a budget laid out on the website. Anyone paying for this is a goofball. I'm all for an alternative to TGA for a non-flashy show, but this is just laughable. Don't even get me started on the board. So right there off the bat, don't even get me started on the board should tell you more than enough what his main issue is with this whole thing. It's because it's not diverse enough. There's not enough wokeness in this whole situation, which is why we want to get away from it, because Access Media is infected, guys. If you've been watching my content, Hypnotic, Atreus, Melonie Mac, Side Scrollers, Smash JT, Trent Report, you name it. John Del Rose, we've been calling Access Media out because these journalists have no integrity anymore. They're not even journalists. They're political activists that are cosplaying as journalists. And when we call that out, we're grifters, guys. We're grifters who don't know any better. And you guys that follow us, y'all are idiots for listening to what we have to say. That's what these guys think. And they just sit there and cry all day on Twitter. That's all they do. And you can see at this point all day, this was before Nick decided to get on Side Scrollers today. He was just literally coping and seething over this. This sort of stuff is so wild, it's hard to look away from the train wreck. I'm not going to lie. I'm all for seeing how this turns out. Not my money being spent on it. Okay. So if this was the other way around, if this was a woke convention or a woke award show happening, and the minute that any of us started tweeting stuff like this, we would be the obsessed ones. We would be the stalkers. We'd be the ones that are circumventing blocks. We're the ones that are not minding our business, right? It's funny how this guy will call people obsessed and stuff, but all you ever see on his Twitter is just nonsense like this. And he claimed, he had the audacity today, which we'll talk about this later, to say that he and Second Wind don't participate in the culture wars, that he's not about the culture wars, that they don't make content based on culture wars. Dude, this guy literally represents Second Wind as a co-founder, and he's constantly tweeting about it. Don't you see that you represent your company, even though you try to hide between my Twitter is my own opinions? No, dude. You, like any other founder, any other head honcho of a company, represent this. This is your job. This is your livelihood. This is what you pay the bills with. You are literally a figurehead at Second Wind. So when you're writing stuff like this, guess what? It's content. Twitter's content. So when you cry about me or Smash whoever making tweets about you, you are just as hypocritical as you try to say we are. Now, continuing on, you can see Space Ghost insulting it. This is the most degrading thing I could possibly think of to compare this to. Essentially just saying that it's going to be a pointless award show with a ball pit. And there's little Nikki again. Just needs a little crown next to it and a controller and we good. And she said $30 to play in the ball pit. Again, if it goes against the grain of what they believe in, they're going to try to insult it. Try to say that it's low intelligence. And just try to get personal with it. But God forbid we make a video calling any of them out on their nonsense, because then that's the end of the world for them, folks. And honestly, it just seems like Nick has just been coping about it. He says, it's funny that you and others constantly try to pit the people that actually cover and make games against the people that play games, while you yourselves hate the people that make games, talk about, and play games. It never works in your favor, and every time it involves asking for money. So that's why he's saying it's a grift. Because we don't make games, right? We don't write about games. We don't cover games. No, we talk about games all the time. Stuttering Craig has literally been talking about games for 20 plus years. And suddenly, because he wants to make his own award show for the fans, by the fans, it's a problem. And it's an issue that is a grift. And it just hurts your fucking man pussy so much. And only because the wokies that are infecting majority of the gaming community, even though they don't represent a majority of the gamers. Isn't that weird? They control the narrative. They control the gaming industry, but they don't control the consumers. The majority of consumers don't give a fuck about all of y'all's DEI, but you sure as fuck like to inject it and put it into all of our entertainment. That's why we're calling this shit out. And right here, again, somebody else says, we'll do everything to take games back except make their own game. So now that's the new goalpost, guys. And he tried to say this on Side Scrollers. This is the new goalpost. We're bitching about games, but we're not making them. Do they not understand that there's literal employees, and Melonie Mac said this at Side Scrollers, there's literal employees that work at companies, and if they speak out and say that they don't want diversity and all this and that, they get canceled. They get fired. They lose their jobs because Microsoft and all these other companies are forcing diversity in it. They literally have manuals and hand guides with this bullshit. It's so funny how often the goalposts move. And you can see Again, Space Ghost calling it a wild grift, asking people to pay for the privilege of an award show. Yeah, no. And it's a much bigger picture than this, guys. You could be like, oh, I have to pay to vote. No, you're setting off. This is the founding, like the foundation of it being built. That's going towards an actual physical award show coming out next year. He literally says all the money that's being raised and saved right now is going to go towards a physical award show. Don't you think by year 2, if year 1 goes successful, he's going to be able to get sponsors? This ain't his first rodeo making a fucking event. Does nobody understand that? You have to make chicken salad with chicken. All right? Not chicken shit. And you can see Airbagged, who's one of the biggest fucking unhinged Alyssa Mercante simps out there. It's pretty sad to see how he started versus what he does now. And, he's pointing out the Screw Attack days with AVGN and how Side Scrollers was a podcast. And then now it's become anti-woke. And that's the problem. It's because it calls out their echo chamber, guys. There's not anti-woke versus woke. It's woke versus normal people, and they don't like it. If you talk about anything that you disagree with or what they disagree with, if you're making content that disagrees with any of their echo chamber, you're a grifter. That's what it comes down to. They will sit here and they will cry. Hands the fuck down. And again, you get more people saying they'll do anything except learn how to make games or write articles. When all the main companies like Kotaku and them are overrun by wokies, there's no position for us. It's so weird. They gatekeep the gaming journalism industry and even community management and video game development. It's all gatekept by wokies. The second that Craig is making an event that he's going to gatekeep Access Media from, it's a problem. You guys are doing anything except learning how to play games. When you guys are learning how to make games, when you guys are literally the gatekeepers of the fucking industry, that's why people are sick of it. That's why this is being made, because you guys have been gatekeeping and causing problems for gamers, for people that play your video games. And you can see Funnest 3 video run, just again making fun of his stuff. I don't understand the point here, what the flex is on that. And of course, Tipster has to chime in. I think, Tipster was a friend for quite some time, but he's definitely become super fucking tone deaf, especially after listening to Kevels for some time. Trying and failing so hard to push this blatantly obvious grift, yet they have over 200 members paying $30. I don't think that's a failure. I don't think that's a failure at all. Again, it's only a grift because he's doing anti-woke content. That's exactly what it comes down to. And you can see, again, Airbag talking about the Patreon. Everything from it, saying this is proof that it's going to be a grift. Patreon for Side Scrollers isn't the same as the memberships for the Real Game Awards. Again, Craig has experience making events and running them successfully for years. Screwtack was one of the best gaming conventions out there, and I was heartbroken when it broke down and it no longer happened. Now, Alyssa Mercante went absolute fucking nuts. What else is new? And it's weird because I pointed this out. She said, the moment a straight white man feels like the world isn't about him for a few minutes, he starts braying, don't you mean bragging, about taking back a space, the feebleness of a mind like that, the crippling insecurity that eats away at you. Fascinating. And she wonders why we make videos about her. Does she not think that saying something like this isn't going to open her up to criticism? Or is she going to message all of us saying she suggests that we keep her name out of our mouths? Because that's what she's going to do. She picks and she prods and then she plays victim. And she says that means their entire world is homogeneous. Their friends, the spaces they inhabit, their work lives. What a sad, gray, miserable life that must be. Can you not look in the mirror with what you want? With what y'all push as far as wokeness goes? If anybody's in a echo chamber, it's you guys. Because y'all can't take different perspectives. They try to say, oh, we hire to see different perspectives. But right here, she literally singles out a straight white man for having an idea. What if this was a gay white man? Would you still have an issue with it? Would it be a grift? What if it was a bisexual Mexican? Would you have a problem with this? No. The only reason why she's upset is because it's a straight white man, and that shows it right there. The fact that she has to say that shows the feebleness of a mind like that. Like, to her own words being used against us. The crippling insecurity of her eats away at her because it's a straight white man. You can't even make this up. It's like she's self-owning herself. She has zero awareness. And, of course, other idiots like Mike Drucker. It's time to make our voices heard in gaming by giving me at least $30 for a project that will absolutely never exist. I know Craig. He's a son of a bitch that makes shit happen. It will absolutely fucking happen. And you guys are worried about it because that's why Nick went on Side Scrollers today and literally cried. Literally cried about the whole situation and embarrassed himself. Now, again, people, of course, got to get hateful shit talk. Paying $30 a year so Stuttering Craig could get hair plugs in Turkey to own woke gamers. Yet Nick Calandra himself literally came on and looked like a fucking fool. Which, I just had to talk about this real quick. I said, Alyssa Mercante has to specify that it's a straight white man when spewing her nonsense. Makes the insulting from her and her ilk okay. Change it to anything but that and you're a bigot, according to the logic. So, if I was to say, hey, a gay white man feels like the world isn't about him, Alyssa would be like, this guy's a bigot. Only they're allowed to be racist, guys, because they think you can't be racist against white people. And yeah, I mean, take a look at this clip right here. This was from Side Scrollers. I keep talking about the episode. Nick came on. If you guys want to go watch it, I said, Nick Calandra hates gossip videos about him, especially from me and Smash JT, but joins culture wars on Twitter. He condoned Smash's site takedown and labeled me unsafe around kids. Stuttering Craig exposed to double standards on Side Scroller Pod. Our jobs have been contacted because of him. So listen to this.
The thing we don't make content about is gossiping about other people on the internet. People in your chat are going to point out at my Twitter to say that.
Remember, this guy couldn't take criticism, so he literally tried to say that I should not be anywhere near children for my kids' wrestling camps. And this caused an email to be sent to my wrestling school, to my business partners. But he doesn't take place in gossip or slander or the culture wars.
Right. And as I pointed out to you directly, like you talking about it on Twitter is no different than Smash JT or anybody else talking about it. And to be clear.
And yeah, that's a fact. Him posting stuff on Twitter and hiding behind Second Wind isn't doing it is no different than Smash or myself or Hypnotic or whoever making videos going over yours and Mercante's behavior. It's so weird that they don't want to be talked about because we're not journalists in their eyes. We don't claim to be that. We say allegedly, we talk about rumors, we talk about what's going on. We have every right to criticize you. You're a fucking public figure. If anybody slandered anybody, it's you trying to say that I shouldn't be around children. And you still don't own up to that because you were asked something else in regards to Smash JT and you completely avoided it, which we'll show that clip here in a minute.
Clear. What is it gossip or is it news? And because at the end of the day, you are a public figure. People will talk about you.
Sure.
You've chosen this position for yourself. Yep. So it's natural for people to be interested in what you have to say. So is it gossip or is it newsworthy? Are you newsworthy or is it just gossip?
I think it becomes gossip when people cherry pick things to
fucking pot calling the kettle black. It becomes gossip when people cherry pick things. This guy has zero awareness.
Make a video about what you say without putting the full context in it.
Okay, let's talk about cherry picking real quick. What about the Sweet Baby article from Kotaku that Alyssa wrote, where she totally didn't include the idea of why the Sweet Baby Inc. detective group was created to begin with? Like, that's cherry picking.
That was a home run question there because, again, if it goes with the woke agenda, it's not cherry picking, guys. It's not a grift. He didn't call that out. And he immediately after this, and I didn't get the clip, says, oh, I tried to not speak on the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff because there's not much known about it. But this guy will talk about everything else that's anti-woke and take stuff out of context about people that are calling out their agenda and their narrative. That's weird how they work. And then their defense is, well, both sides do it. Those guys do it. It's not that plain, black and white. No, all right? Hypocrites, all of them. And that's why he came onto this podcast butthurt about the Real Game Awards. 110%. Now here's another tweet I put saying, quick, a straight white man's challenge everything we propagate in our agendas. Let's proceed to call it a grift because we don't like it. And that's exactly it. He's not pushing any agendas. He's not pushing any kind of political stance or narrative. He's literally saying it's time to take it back because this gaming industry is infected. This gaming industry is full of people that have agendas. And he doesn't want a show that has an agenda. If anything, we're gatekeeping the agenda away. And these people can't stand it. Now, I'm going to leave you one more clip. Smash clip this one. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of clips today. He said, Nick proceeds to move the goalposts after this question gets cut off and refuse to acknowledge any wrongdoing or disavow people contacting where people work. This dude's an absolute cancer to the game industry. So let's watch.
When you say you need to go after people's sources of their income.
Yeah, so he said go after people's funding, go after their sources, right?
What specifically do you mean? Because there have been people who have taken what you've said and taken that very literally and gone after people, made phone calls to people's jobs and taken things that,
which emails as well, like with mine,
you've said very literally, right? So for you being upset about the way we speak, hello, pot, meet kettle, right? Because there are people who take things that you say. Should you be responsible for their actions?
No, I wouldn't say so. I don't put the creators specifically in chart and people. Yeah, sorry, tongue twister there. I don't put creators specifically responsible for what their audiences do because.
So he says he don't put creators responsible for what their audiences do. When not long ago, this guy literally has made tweets saying this type of person is this type of audience that this creator cultivates in regards to Smash and other people like Grums. These guys are full of themselves. They don't even remember the crap that they tweet out. That's how contradictive they do to themselves. How contradictive they are to themselves. I can't even think straight because the logic, the mental gymnastics between all these people and they're coping and seething over this Real Game Awards, which I'm in full support of, guys. So please make sure that you guys, even if you don't become a member, the best thing you can do is probably share this out and give your thoughts on it. I'm interested to see where this goes and takes off. I hope it goes good. I want Access Media to get fucking shut the fuck down. So let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll see you on the next one.